We're here to listen because it's protocol. I'm here because I need to be here, because I get paid to be here, but we're not expecting anything.
My president, my cupcake.
Hello and welcome to the channel. Let's get into the story. We are talking State of the Nation address, but looking at the highlights from it, as we can see there, Fadil Adams coming in, taking shots already. But the star of the show, that is Ikona, the poet. She's the one who spiced her poem with cupcake. But also Cyril Ramaphosa came in spicy there, telling the world that they will not be bullied. I don't know if that includes us, right? And then there is the MKP making a showing as the official opposition party, and the EFF, it was their first time going into a SONA without Floyd and without Ndlozi. So what will follow after this will be interesting. We'll also look at the commentary that came out of Gayton, Mckenzie, and the rest of the parliamentarians at the day. But let's get into it further. Please give this video a thumbs up as we unpack.
This is the world that we, as South Africa, a developing economy, must now navigate. But we are not daunted to navigate our path through this world that constantly changes. We will not be deterred. We are, as South Africans, a resilient people, and we will not be bullied. We will stand together as a united nation, and we will speak with one voice in defense of our national interests, our sovereignty, and our constitutional democracy.
All right, you would have seen that the word "we will not be bullied" is trending on social media, and that is because of what Cyril Ramaphosa put in his speech and his address. So we will look at why he is coming out so strongly against the West, it looks like, and people have criticized this move, saying that he is putting this country in jeopardy. We will look at those strong sentiments coming from the likes of Gayton, Mckenzie, and there are also those who are pro this move. We will hear from them too as well. But looking at the ceremony itself, you would have seen the army, the defense force was there in full force protecting the president and his guests. It's all part of the SONA. It's divided into 3 parts. I'll talk about the formalities of the SONA in another video. If you are interested, let me know. But in the meantime, as this SNDF ceremonies usher them into the venue, which should have been Parliament, but in this case it's not Parliament because Parliament burnt down in 2022, so they are using a temporary venue, which was the Cape Town City Hall in this instance. So they put a red carpet there, guys, just so that they can walk in and so that it looks pretty for the pictures. So then they took the pictures. So many people were questioning as to why is there a red carpet, why, but the carpet is there and they need to go in anyway. But also they said that they would have this event publicized like this so that it can generate public interest, so that me and you can listen. I don't know about you guys, but for me, before Zuma, I didn't even know there was a SONA because Zuma's ones were always controversial. So that's why they drew me to the SONA. Let me know if you were ever interested in Nelson Mandela's SONA or in Thabo Mbeki's SONA before we got Jacob Zuma. So after that, that is when interest peaked, and it obviously peaked even more with the introduction of EFF. So the EFF were present for the first time without Floyd and Ndlozi. And guess what? They came in uniformly. They were singing, as you can see in the videos, and they were there seated without any disruptions this time. Nobody was booted out. No pala this. You know, it wasn't that chaotic that we know them to be. So who are the problem children here? Is it the ones that left? Okay, let me know down below. But we also saw MKP, who have now taken up their position as the official opposition party, considering their numbers and that DA has crossed over there to the GNU. So they are sitting there nicely in their camouflage as well, coming in uniform, and it looked like this side was for the uniform guys and that side was for the civis guys, like people who are dressed casually. Anyway, so what happened is that these two came in and the MKP president Jacob Zuma was not in attendance. Apparently it clashed with another event, but we're not sure if he was keen on coming or it was another deliberate move, because there were other reports that said that he is not going to be engaging or listening to a fake president. We're not sure. Let us know, MKP, was it intentional? But we did see the deputy there, obviously, Dr. Shope. Let's continue, guys. So as you would have seen, the speaker was there in her red, looking gorgeous, but she then opened the floor and there was the national anthem. And as usual, when the Afrikaans part comes for the national anthem, the EFF does not participate. That is their cue, rather, to sit down, and they did that together with the MKP. So does that mean that they share the same ideologies? So why not, birds of the same feather flock together, continue in that fashion and join forces? I don't know. Let me know again down below. Let's engage. Now, going forward, they enter Ramaphosa. He did pay tribute to the fallen soldiers in the DRC, but on that point of the DRC, he further reiterated that they will continue to support the DRC because the DRC stood with South Africa also in South Africa's time of need. But let me know what stood out for you in this speech by Sir Ramaphosa. It took more than an hour, so there was a lot in there.
We also are very worried, but it's a challenge for us to improve our own communication, because the fact that such lies gain gravitas means that we need to heighten our information provision.
Do you think we can get over this hurdle?
Absolutely. I believe so.
Minister Mckenzie, good afternoon.
How are you, my brother?
I'm good. Are you of the opinion that Donald Trump said nothing wrong in terms of his remarks on South Africa?
No, I'm not saying he said nothing wrong. I'm saying that Burkina Faso can't tell South Africa what to do. Pakistan can't tell South Africa what to do because we don't take money from them. They are not helping us with aid. But if somebody gives you billions and he asks you a question, you have a right. He has a right to ask you a question. Donald Trump is wrong in his assessment, but he's not wrong asking a question. So if we don't want him to ask questions from us, we should not take his money.
But Minister, is it not true that the US, being an imperialist force, owes Africa, considering how they have looted and exploited the resources of Africa for many a decade?
Everyone has exploited Africa. The whole world owes us. The whole world. We've been exploited by everyone. Not only the US. Everyone. They owe us.
But for me, what impressed me was the fact that he was freestyling it at some point. He didn't read word for word. It gets so distracting when somebody's reading word for word. At least you can read, but not everything, how Bagit. So he did try to freestyle some parts in my view. And then he went on to speak about something that makes the youth of South Africa very happy. That is the grant. So he said that that 350 will continue. So it was meant to end in May. So good news is that it will be extended. So for all those who are looking for jobs, just to get that boost, guys, it's not cheap to be job hunting. Now let's then look at the other key points that he touched. Infrastructure, talking about restoring power and restoring water. He also talked about local governance, local municipalities, strengthening them. So there was also a very good sore point to touch on. But there were lots of things, guys, that he talked about. Let me know what came out for you. As I said, it was a whole hour. So if I were to talk about all of them here in this video, it would go on and be too long, and I'm sure that is not what you want. Now let's look at the commentary that came out of it.
Firstly, for the US to say they're not coming to the G20 because of South Africa and all of that, it's probably a very informed decision because they are not going to be led by a puppet. They know that this Ramaphosa installation into the leadership of this thing, there's nothing to it. It's just part of the shenanigans of the West. So they're not going to be fooled by that, as it was. So President Trump is doing all he can for his own America. What should be happening here? We should be having a president of the country that is doing all he can for South Africa, but instead we have a dwarf leading the country that has got no clue what to do to leverage the mineral wealth of the country so that South Africa can stand on its 2 feet and deal with the world as an equal partner. But now we're sitting here with a crybaby that now you are taking the money for AIDS and all of that. We are a rich country. Why is it that the richness of this country is not used to benefit the great majority of our people?
You know, 6 months ago, he brought the DA, the Freedom Front Plus, all those Zionist proxies, he brought them into government. He said, no, we're doing this for South Africa. Government of national unity. They protested against the Bella Bill, meant to equal education. They protested against land expropriation, meant to include us all in the living of the land. They'll protest against the NHI, which is meant to bring everybody decent health care. These people aren't progressive, and he's telling us that this is the government he formed for us. Nah.
Are there any things that can be celebrated by South Africans, ordinary South Africans, for the past 30 years?
There isn't much, certainly for black people. We are still on the receiving end. Racism is a salient factor every day. It doesn't affect whites. It doesn't affect other South Africans. In the main, it's the black people who are the victims of racism.
Well, there you have it. One thing about Fadil, he will always have a drop mic moment. He is always having so much passion when he speaks. I think the EFF could use somebody like him. I wonder why he hasn't even partnered with them yet. But also what Gayton Mckenzie said did make sense about Trump asking the questions, because he is actually putting in billions. I know Sir Ramaphosa made it like it's a small amount. He said 17%, which is true, but that 17% is a lot. It's billions, right? If they were supposed to raise those billions right now, it's no small amount. All right. So if he asks, what are you doing? There's no problem with that. The problem is that Donald Trump already had an idea of what was happening according to him, and that's where the problem is. And also the fact that it did not come from a place of being concerned, but it was already from a place of judgment. That's a problem, and he continues to persecute South Africa through his administration. So that's why it's touching. You see Naledi Pandor coming in there that, look, communications should do better. And he is talking about Ronald Lamula there, because people are calling for her to return to office. Because Ronald is a bit timid, let's be honest. He might be a great leader, probably an A student, but we need a voice, man, a voice. Voice kana late, ne? Okay. And then you get the MKP. I wanted to add Julius's clip as well. I'm sure you heard his response, and it was similar to what the MKP was saying, that ayikho lento. Every time, I don't like politicians who just say ayikho lento. At least have examples to say, from your speech, this and this and this was not it. But from the comments of the MKP with Dr. Hlophe, he just commented in general, racism still affects us. Like, come on. And then why aren't you critiquing what the president said? And then you get Umzwanele Manyi saying that Sir Ramaphosa is the puppet of the West. That's why they're not coming to G20. But if he was, then that's the more of a reason for the West to come to support their puppets. But because he's not a puppet, that's why they're against him. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. And sorry for making this video a little bit longer than usual. Obviously, as I said, it was a long speech, but we did try and summarize it. There is a lot that we could have talked about, where he talked about that corruption unit, or that sparked my interest, that there is a dedicated corruption unit that is going to be capacitated within the NPA. We hope that that one works, because we definitely need to save every penny, especially now that we don't have aid coming in from the USA, and we'll probably need more tightening of the belt when Ngwana rather comes in to tell us more about the budget speech later on in this year. And so the next time that we're going to be talking about the SONA, it's when they are having the debate on the 13th and the 14th of February, and then later on the 15th, President Ramaphosa will get to respond. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I want to say thank you so much for watching, and please continue to be concerned about your country and make your voice be heard. See you on the next video.